playoffs on Sunday if they get a win against the Steelers. If they can't pull out the win, then they'll need some help to get into the postseason. The Steelers will be without Big Ben, Cam Hayward, and TJ Watt, who will all be resting for the already clinched playoff berth. So, Greg, do you trust Baker to lead the Browns into the playoffs against the undermanned Steelers?
Of course. Yes, I trust Baker Mayfield. He's done a terrific job all season. And it's been large in part because of the head coach, Kevin Stefanski, and play caller. And he's put him in successful situations. And I believe he'll do so moving forward into this Week 17 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But let's not act as though Baker Mayfield is going to have to do what he tried to do last week, which is throw the ball 50-plus times. That is not a key to the success of the Browns nor Baker Mayfield. That is not where he thrives. He turns around, hands the ball off to Nick Chubb and others and Kareem Hunt and allow them to establish their identity, which is running the football. And against the Pittsburgh Steelers team, who's kind of crippling and hobbling into the playoffs themselves, you have to establish the run. You have to impose your will. And Baker Mayfield, yes, is he the guy to get it done? I do believe so. He hasn't been turning the ball over. His interceptions are down. He's fumbled as of late. But if he can just not turn the ball over and he can use his cadence. Vic, I wanted to ask you this. I'm glad we're talking about it. Why do we not see Baker Mayfield take advantage of his cadence? Because I feel like when teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers he plays against, they have an opportunity to disguise their coverages, and that's where he finds himself in trouble. And if he uses his cadence or tempo, getting to the line of scrimmage, getting off snaps quick, he doesn't allow those teams to do that. Why do you think that is?
Double count. You need to do more double count, make the defense declare so he can see exactly what's happening. That'll help him with his pre-snap read. But, Greg, I tell you this, if Baker Mayfield don't win this game this weekend, there's going to be some smoke in the city. We got Big Ben out, Pouncey, TJ Watt, and Cam Hayward. Bruh, I can come out this chair and win that game. I promise you.
We did pros versus Joes.
And win that game. Look, there's no excuse for Baker Mayfield this weekend. I feel like I find myself, 3 or 4 times every year saying that this is a must-win game for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield got to win this game. But this one right here, this is a game of huge magnitude, of epic proportions for him. He needs to win this one. His receivers was out last week. He had to throw it 50 times, like you said, Greg. That's not the recipe for Baker Mayfield. It's turn around. It's handed off to Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. If they do that, that's where their success lies. If they don't do that, continuously this game and find a way to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't care what it takes, and it's all going to start with Baker, then I'm going to be super upset. And I know the Cleveland Browns fan base is going to be upset with Baker Mayfield and everyone. This is a must-win game for Baker.
I feel like the Cleveland Browns will have let him down if they don't win this game. I think there's a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's only consistency that I've seen so far this year has been inconsistent. And that's it. And I say that with love. I mean, I look at this Cleveland team and I think to myself, it's interesting that with all the talent that has been amassed on this team, and getting your running attack off the ground, which was the catalyst, by the way, of this team starting to have success to begin with, we're putting this on Baker Mayfield's shoulders. A toothless Steelers team coming into the game. They're going to be using all gums to bite. Nothing's going to hurt. But you got to win. They're going to be gnawing that. You got to win the game. And if you don't win the game, it falls purely at the feet of Baker Mayfield. I don't know that that's fair, but the setup of it is certainly there. And Baker, if you're watching this show, going into your practice today, make sure you let yourself know in the mirror. Don't change your mustache and the beard and all that. Don't give me 3 different looks. Commit to who you're going to be in this game, and make sure your teammates know who you're going to be in this game, and who they're going to be identity-wise going into this game. Because, Mike, here's the thing. We're talking about a Steelers team that is resting their guys.
Yeah.
But we're also talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are the big brother to pretty much every single team other than the Baltimore Ravens in that AFC North division. So don't think for 2 seconds because Big Ben is resting that this is going to be one of those let's get through it type of deals. It's a door prize type of game. You'll mess around and you'll get hit in your mouth and you'll be down early and everybody will be sitting there wondering, why is this happening to Baker Mayfield, not the Browns? I look at this as this is a must-win for Baker Mayfield, reputationally speaking. But reality, this is a must-win game for you, Stefanski, for you, Cleveland. It's a must-win for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Stefanski got some time, but I like Greg said, you know, Baker Mayfield, the maturation process right now has to show up the double counts, you know, getting the team in the right formations, getting them in the right checks. All that's going to be on display. And he's going to have to go out and outdo Mason Rudolph, who's going to be trying to prove that he's the long-term solution to replace Ben Roethlisberger in years to come whenever Big Ben decides to hang it up. So it's a lot hanging in the balance for Baker Mayfield.
And who's to say that Mason, if he doesn't play well, if he plays well, you know, we've looked at how Ben has played in that 3-game skid, and a lot of people were like, hey, let's try Mason Rudolph. So the conversation has already ensued anyway. So Mason, whether Mason gets that gig or not, why not put yourself in a favorable position that leash is shorter in the playoffs for someone like Ben because you have the confidence in what you saw him do in a critical must-win game for Cleveland to get into the playoffs. This is much like a playoff game.
It'll be so good to see the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs. I tell you, for as long as it's been, you know, for them to have a chance to get in position where they are competing in the playoffs, man. It's something we haven't seen from them in a long time, and they should be excited about this moment and this opportunity. They shouldn't let it slip by.
You better hope so.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Baker and the Browns have to win this game, especially since they're getting a good chunk of their receivers back. And as LeVar mentioned, they are playing a toothless Steelers team. But let's move on to the Chargers because rookie quarterback Justin Herbert has become an overwhelming favorite to win after Tua was 17 of 22 for only 94 yards against the Raiders. Fitzpatrick didn't disappoint, going 9 of 13 for 182 yards and a touchdown. And he set up Miami for the game-winning field goal. But yesterday, Fitzpatrick tested positive for COVID-19 and will miss their game Sunday. But before that, Brian Flores has already said that despite the benching, Tua was going to start week 17. So, LeVar, do you think the Dolphins are sold on Tua as their quarterback long-term?
Of course they're sold on Tua as their quarterback. But here's the thing. The reason why we're having this conversation, Mike and Alex and Greg, is very clear, right? You have played Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Ryan Fitzpatrick has had success. He came in relief duty, had success. But you look at Tua, he's 6-2 as the starter for this team. I think this is more so a conversation about Flores creating that environment of competition. I think this is pretty unique in itself because you look at quarterbacks and you say, once you make the switch, then you maintain the switch. And that's kind of how we've grown to learn and understand the position itself. But Flores did something very interesting. It's compete. I didn't need to play him early on. I had to play him early on. I took a chance. I put him in. But he's convinced this team that they got to compete first. So when they take him out, it's not because you don't believe in Tua. It's because you want to win.
Right.
So our environment right now is purely we want to win. I believe Tua is the long-term key for them, the long-term decision or long-term guy for them at that position. But I also look at it from the standpoint of he's got a lot to learn as a rookie. And then learning as a rookie, he's also being put in a position where, like our early conversation, and you get a first-round quarterback that doesn't necessarily buy into the fact that being a first-rounder means you still got to go out there and show and prove. He's keeping Tua honest, and he's keeping Tua hungry. As Greg mentioned earlier, As long as he stays hungry and motivated, he'll turn into that veteran savvy quarterback before long.
You know, I think, LeVar, you said it. I mean, 6-2 as a starter. And in this league, it's all about winning. And it hasn't been pretty for Tua. You know, you don't see deep passes down the yard. You don't see him breaking long runs. And it's in part to a lot of different things. He had an injury, you know, last year, significant injury that he had to come back from. And that's tough. The hip injuries are some of the worst injuries to bounce back from. He did it. In terms of, you know, no offseason strength and conditioning program, no offseason training, no OTAs. I said we're going to say this multiple times in the show, especially about young QBs. And, you know, a lot of those things can be overlooked. So when you have a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick for Brian Flores, and you can look to the side and say, I got me a relief pitcher right here that we can put in the game and salvage the game if need be, then I'm going to go to that guy, especially while Tua's a rookie. Now, come 2021, say this again, it won't be none of that. Trial and error for Tua. You put him out there, you let him work. You let him go through the growing pains. You let him grow up. You let him lose the tough ones.